Hey guys, assalamu alaikum, welcome back to another video. I haven't made a video in a little while, but I'm back today and I'm back to cover the big fight happening tomorrow night. This is the third time this fight has been tried. I haven't made a video on the third try, but it looks like we are finally going to get it. The fight is tomorrow night. We're not too far away from the fight now. So hopefully, fingers crossed that we will get to see it, inshallah. We will get to see it tomorrow night. Obviously, it's a massive fight for both of them. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, the truth in Diriyah, Saudi Arabia. This is going to be one heck of a fight because the amount it can change these two fighters' careers is crazy. Tommy Fury and Jake Paul both go into the fight undefeated. Jake is 6-0 and I think Tommy is 8-0, but Tommy has got that more experience. He's fought at the amateur levels. He's had more fights in the professional. He's been doing it since he was a kid. So with all that taken in, oh, and also the fact that Jake Paul's a YouTuber and a Disney star, you'd think, looking on paper, Tommy Fury should walk this fight when you look at it on paper. But how different, how times can change. Jake Paul has put a lot of blood, sweat and tears into the sport. And I'm not a big fan of Jake Paul. I don't really like Jake Paul. But I have to respect what he's done and how much commitment he's put in to boxing, because it takes a lot of commitment in boxing to just have the heart is one thing, but then be skilled as well is another thing. But having the heart is very key. And I'm sure I will talk about heart later on in the video. But Jake Paul has got a lot of heart for boxing, and that is one thing that could really help him out in this fight. But we'll get onto that a little bit later. Tommy, obviously, I've already mentioned, he's been fighting in the amateurs. He's been doing boxing since he's young. He comes from the Fury family, yeah, a boxing family, or they're seen as some prestigious boxing family. You've got Tyson Fury, his older brother, the heavyweight world champion. His dad, John Fury, I don't really know much about John Fury, to be honest. He might be a good fighter. He might have been a good fighter. I'm not actually sure. But they talk of themselves as a very prestigious boxing family. That's all they know. They just box all their lives. And Tommy's got a lot on the line to lose here. He's put a lot on the line for this fight. So is Jake. But the pressure is heavily on Tommy. I don't think the Furies have helped that pressure because of what they're saying, how they're talking about Jake and how they're talking upon Tommy. It might help Tommy. It might motivate him to do better, but it could also dig him a deep grave. Like, they've been saying stuff like, we can't possibly lose to Jake Paul. You know, we've been doing this since we was young. We've been doing this since we was born. I was 14 training, fighting in amateurs. He was 14 doing Disney videos and shows and all that. Which I don't even know if he was 14 and doing that, but I'm not really bothered. But they're saying all that stuff. They're saying he's a YouTuber. We can't possibly lose to him. Look, you know, he's only done boxing for a few years. I've done it all my life. We've done it all our lives. That's what Tommy and the Furies have been saying about this fight. And that means if Jake does win this fight, all of that, all what they said, just beat Tommy Fury. A Disney star, a YouTuber, someone who's only been doing boxing for a few years. Someone like that has beaten Tommy Fury. A boxer who's been doing it from young. So that is that would, if he loses this fight, Tommy, that is not going to be seen as a good thing in the boxing community, because he's got ambitions to be the world champion. You know, I think every boxer wants to be the world champion, but he's got a serious ambition for it, with his brother being the world champion as well. So if he loses this fight, it's going to be a massive stain on his career because he's lost to a YouTuber, his undefeated record's gone, and I think records nowadays they're a bit like over glorified. Like you can get a 20-0 record after fighting bums, but because you're 20-0, people see you as good, rather than if you're like 5-1 or 6-1, but then you fought like really good guys. I think like being undefeated and records, they're sort of like you can garnish over them, you can put glossing over them and make them look a lot better than they are. But we're not gonna get into that now. All we're gonna get into is this fight because it is one massive, massive fight. I'm gonna tell you who I think's gonna win the fight, and why as well. So yeah. So anyway. The fight happens tomorrow. It's the third time it's happened. The first time it didn't happen because Tommy pulled out with an injury, and the second time Tommy couldn't get into the USA for traveling issues and stuff like that, traveling bans. But it looks like we're gonna get this fight finally for the third time. Third time lucky. Third time is a charm. It's on BT Sport box office in the UK. But yeah, Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. Let's get into it. First of all, if we look at the two fighters, obviously Tommy's been doing it for a lot longer time than Jake, and that's why Tommy, his foot movement is a little bit more slick. Tommy's got a better bounce, like he bounces better, he's got more spring, or that's how everyone will see it. Tommy's got more spring, he's bouncing all the time, and his footwork's a little bit better. It's more natural than Jake's is. While Jake, people call him flat-footed a lot, but he sort of like walks. He doesn't always have that spring in his feet. He sort of walks around, and then he moves. He walks around, and then he'll come in to throw some shots, and then he'll walk around again. He'll reset, looking, getting ready to throw. That's what Jake is. While Tommy is bouncing the whole time. He's bouncing on his feet. He's got that spring. Is that an advantage for Tommy or is that an advantage for Jake? It could go either way, this one. If we're going to be completely honest, Tommy can just bounce and bounce and bounce, which means he's got more spring, allowing him to get in the angles and move around more, get out of certain situations. That could help Tommy, or it could help Jake because Jake's not tiring himself out. He's staying, sort of not flat-footed, but he's walking around. He's not just bouncing the whole time. So he's saving energy while Tommy is using up a lot of energy. And in an 8-round fight, being springy for the whole fight can get you very, very tired. And if Jake lets Tommy get tired, then Jake can come in and do serious damage. So that could be a plus for Tommy, or it could be a plus for Jake. Another thing is Tommy's jab. Tommy has a very decent jab. He's got a very good jab. And he's got some crazy arms, like 80 inches his arms. Obviously he's got very broad shoulders as well, and the way he's built, but his arms are humongous. The reach he has, I'm guessing he's going to be looking to jab Jake away, keep him away. Well, I mean, I think he said he wants to get the knockout, but obviously he's going to start the fight, I'm guessing, just jabbing Jake away, using that reach. And if Jake does get inside, moving away. But he won't want Jake to be able to get in range to throw that right hand. Because we know how deadly Jake's right hand is. So Tommy's jab is a huge plus for him. Just his reach is a massive, massive plus. 80-inch reach is like some of the longest arms in boxing. Like 80 inches is crazy. That's like he's got a TV on his arms. That is unbelievable. So he's got a very, very good reach, and that will be a big advantage for him if he can use that properly. If he uses his reach properly, that can be very good for him, and it can be very, very difficult for Jake. But we'll have to see how Tommy uses it. Now for Jake, he's got that deadly backhand. He's just got that deadly backhand. We've seen it time and time again. Jake's backhand, his right hand, is unbelievably strong. The power he gets from that right hand is very, very strong. We've seen him flatline guys. We've seen him flatline Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, Nate Robinson. Obviously, he knocked down Gibb like 3 times in that first round. He knocked down Anderson Silva. I know he's like 50 years old, but he's still Anderson Silva. Like Jake said in the press conference, he saw Mike Tyson. He said, "You think a 58-year-old Mike Tyson wouldn't beat Tommy Fury?" That was a great response to the age question. That was a brilliant response, and that's what Jake is brilliant at. He's great at. He's got great talk. He talks very, very well. But that right hand can be a real danger for Tommy, because Jake's right hand, if he can get in and manage to throw a clean right hand, Tommy's going to be hurt. Tommy is going to be hurt, and it depends how much Tommy will want it after he gets hurt. And that's where I come on to my other point for Jake. We talked about it earlier. We're going to talk about it again. The heart. Jake Paul, we've seen it. He has got the heart. He's been hurt a few times, but he's come back. He got hurt against Tyron Woodley in the first fight. He had a massive cut over his eye. He got hurt, but what did he do? He came back. And that's what Jake is brilliant at doing. We've seen him get hurt, but we've seen him come back and he's won the fight. Against Tyron Woodley, I think in the 4th round, he got hurt, but what did he do? He got to his corner and then he was throwing, and then he managed to find a way to end up winning the fight. He got Tyron Woodley comfortable thinking, I heard the Wade Concept and Face Sensei talking about this on the breakdown. Go check them out. I heard them say, like, you know, what did they say again? Well, they said something like Jake finds a way to win the fights. He gets them comfortable. He gets the people comfortable, thinking, "Oh yeah, this is what I expected. You know, I'm gonna win this fight now. I'm gonna, you know." Anderson Silva in the first round, he caught Jake with a lovely left hand. They must be thinking, right now, I've got him. You know, this is gonna be an easy fight. This is what I expected it to be, and I am going to win. But Jake finds ways to win the fight. We saw it against Anderson Silva. There were a few rounds where he was struggling. What did he do? He came back later rounds. He won the fight. He cleaned it up, got the knockdown, I think in the penultimate round 7 maybe. And he managed to win the fight. He managed to sweep it up and get the win. While Tommy, he's been put in there with guys that he has to win against. I mean, it's perfect for Tommy. The guys he's been put in against, you know, they're not there to beat him. They're there to build his record rather than oppose a challenge to him, while Jake will oppose a challenge. Tommy has always had everything his way in fights, but Jake hasn't always had everything his way. And Jake has managed to win. Even when things weren't going his way, Jake has managed to win the fights. Bit like JJ in the first Logan fight. He lost the first 3 rounds and he came back second 3 rounds. He managed to get a draw and obviously won the second fight. But when you've got heart, your heart can take you very, very far. It can only take you so far, but it can take you very far. If you've got the heart to keep going and find a way to just, you know, when you're knackered, but you find something, you find a way to put that extra mileage in, that heart can take you so far and it can get you out of some very difficult situations and it can get you over the line. Tommy, we haven't seen if he's got that heart. He might do, but we don't know that yet, because once he gets hit with Jake's backhand, we don't know if he'll want it anymore. Will he carry on? Does he have the heart to carry on? Or will he quit? Will he give in? We don't know that yet. But we do know about Jake. Jake will not give in. He's got the heart. And that's where you got to credit people like Jake and my boy JJ. They've got the heart. And I don't think general boxing fans give them the credit they deserve. Obviously, I love JJ, so you might think I'm talking about this from a fan's perspective, but I've watched JJ for many years now, since I was a little boy, and he really inspires me for what he's done. But the amount of heart and time and dedication he puts into the sport is crazy. Same for Jake. They put so much dedication into the sport. They've got the heart. They won't give up. They will keep going. And that's where you got to credit people like Jake and JJ and other YouTube boxers. While Tommy, we don't know. Again, we don't know if he's got that heart, and we'll have to see if he gets hit with one of those heavy Jake Paul shots. Can he come back? How will he come back? As for my prediction, this is the big moment. As for my prediction, who do I think will win this fight? I'm going to try and take my glasses off, my bias glasses, because let's be real, we all want to see Jake Paul versus JJ, KSI versus Jake Paul. We all want to see that fight at the end of the year. But I'm not going to be biased through that, and I'm going to give you my genuine, honest predictions. And if I'm going to be honest, I think Jake Paul wins this fight. I think Jake Paul will win this fight. I think he's been in there. He's got more heart. I think he just I don't know, there's something about him. Obviously, Tommy, this time around, he's looked so much better, his demeanour. But I just think Jake, from what we've seen, I think Jake wins this fight. Tommy has not shown me a lot to really impress me throughout his career. I remember watching early Tommy fights and now Tommy fights. I haven't really seen much progress from Tommy. For Jake, I've seen heaps of progress. From the one that fought Deji to the one that beat Anderson Silva. There is a massive change in just a few years. For Tommy, I haven't seen a big change. I haven't seen a big improvement. As for Jake, I have done. And I think Jake will keep improving. I think Jake's endurance will be a little bit better, because Jake has been 8 rounds. Tommy hasn't. Tommy's only been to 5 or 6 rounds. Jake's been 8 rounds. Jake's been hit. He's been hurt. You know, he's been in some tough situations. He's managed to find a way out and win the fight. Tommy has been given fights which he's supposed to win. Some fights for him to win. He hasn't been in a tough situation. And I don't know if he'll be able to respond or how he'll respond when he is in those tough situations. But we'll have to see tomorrow night. We'll have to see tomorrow night whether whether Tommy has the heart and whether Jake is a serious problem. I think he is. And I think Tommy is going to struggle tomorrow. And I think Jake will just maybe try and get Tommy comfortable. And when Jake's in that mode, the later rounds, I think Jake will put some serious hurt in Tommy Fury. The mid to later rounds, I think Jake will put serious hurt on Tommy. And I don't know if Tommy will be able to handle it. Unless Tommy's hiding something from us that we haven't seen, then maybe he will win. But from what I've seen, I'd have to say Jake's got a little bit more heart. He lasts longer, and I think the power that he brings is crazy. But that heart, I think, will take him through. I don't know if Tommy's got it. I don't know if Tommy will be able to pick himself up from those tough situations. But we'll have to see at the end of the day. It all comes down to tomorrow, and we won't know until the final bell tomorrow night. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think Jake Paul will win this fight. Let me know if you agree with that, disagree with that, and let me know your prediction for the fight in the comments down below. Let me know what other videos you want to see in the comments down below. It's been a long video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, goodbye.